Sports, when you've got a great ball club. Sports, when you're leaving it all on the field. Sports, when you like your team's chances. Sports, to survive and advance in sports. For the teams you love and the teams you love to hate. Oh, it's Sports Channel 8. Yeah. Sports Channel 8. Hey! Hey! Hey!
It's Sports Channel 8, the streaming show, coming at you on a Friday. A gray Friday. I'll do the weather. It's gray. Kind of cold, actually. It's no good. Maybe it'll hold off and I can get some golf in today. Ben Swain.
I hope you can get out today. Get out this week for the first time.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Dudes I met on the course randomly yesterday, like, oh man, you're cool as hell. Like, I'm gonna post this picture on social media. I was like, oh, you know what? Actually, and then they started making more good. Oh yeah, we saw Hayes. He had some girl up against a tree out there. Like, it was crazy. They were gonna make it even worse than just playing golf. We have
BG's trying to get in. I know you don't check your notes during the show. BG's trying to get in.
It's hard, man. It's hard to be a producer and talking at the same time. There is. You knew Brian Geisker was not going to miss the day after Chris Paul perfection. Yeah. So he's in here and he's back.
That's right.
But we've got Carolina Hurricanes wrapped up their season with the least amount of goals given up in the NHL. So they must be the luckiest team in the league, I guess.
Yeah.
They get an award for that, actually. I found that out yesterday. Yeah. And then and the Panthers doing their darndest to not make people super mad at doing stupid things. They did about the smartest thing that they could do based on what everyone said. So I'm taking everyone's word for it. We'll start right there. Goodson, you're a State fan. They took the State guy. It was the smart pick, and you're still not giving the Panthers any love? You will not watch.
It's an O-lineman. Who cares? It's still got the same other trash players. I mean, it really doesn't matter. Now, talk to me next year when the Panthers go 0-16 and draft Devin Leary, number 1 pick.
All right, you can't just say that though. We need a catchy.
I've tried
losing for Leary,
Weary for Leary,
Leary,
Dreary for Levitt,
Lincoln for Devin. No, it doesn't quite work.
I don't know. 0-11 for Devin.
6-11. Let's go draft Devin. Like, come on.
No, 6-11 is not getting it done. We got to go lower.
Yeah. I mean, Devin's going to be a high class. It is interesting.
Don't worry, this team's not winning 6 games next season, so it's all good.
We're talking about we're going to hand off to Ickey. Ickey's going to be playing linebacker. He's going to have 4 interceptions.
Bringing the Ickey shuffle back.
100%. It does, again, kudos to them for doing the right thing. It seemed like the talk was offensive tackles might go like in the top 5. None did, and so Ickey was the number 1 guy apparently on their board as far as tackles go. Who knows if they wanted any of the other guys? I will say, I never know if I'm assessing things based on how other people are assessing them, or if it is my own declining. Like when I was 21, it was like I watched every game of the NBA playoffs starting the first round. Didn't matter if it was like a 4-0 sweep. Watched probably the first 2 rounds of the draft. At least had it on a side screen and could name 20 or 25 of the players that were getting drafted. And there might be a surprise, whoa. So, dude, I was looking down the names. Maybe it's the lack of quarterbacks, but I was like, you had heard Trayvon Walker and Aiden Hutchinson being caught back and forth, but you go picks 11 through 20. Well, 20 was Kenny Pickett. I knew him. I don't know any of these dudes. Chris Olave from Ohio State, Jameson Williams, Alabama. I know Chip Patterson is yelling at me now. You don't know who these guys are? Jordan Davis, Kyle Hamilton, Kenyon Green, Jahan Dotson, Zion Johnson. We already got people being named after Zion Williamson getting drafted. Crazy. Traylon Burks.
Named 3 years ago.
Yeah. Trevor Penning. Again, it's very possible this is a Hayes declining sports fandom over time. But I just felt like a lot of lack of punch in the draft anyway. Anybody else with me on
Well, because there's no Tar Heels. That's your issue.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, exactly.
That's not true. There's never.
Yeah, but Mac is recruiting at an elite level right now. I mean, you
Wait,
would think
Sam Howell didn't go last night?
No, number one, 2022 number one draft pick in 2020. Sam Howell did not go number one last night.
They never said which round. They just said first.
Yeah, that's
pick.
true.
Never said which round.
That's right. So you could be the first pick of the 6th round, and that's obviously.
What? Maybe it's one of those things where he was interviewing with teams. They asked players and prospects all those weird draft questions, and they asked him. They're like, "What if you were a needle? What would you do with yourself?" And he just got out of the room and walked away, and that just tanked his draft stock.
I guess at this point, if you were drafting somebody in 2020 and they were refusing to get vaccinated, like you would consider that, right? We've seen dudes miss games because of it. I do wonder at this point if people even considered all the things they talk about your character, if they give a crap or not about whether you're vaccinated. But
I just assumed that he pulled out of the draft and is going back to UNC. That's what happened last night.
He wants to play with Gigi Jackson.
Yeah.
To your point, I'm with you. I don't know any of the guys.
I don't either.
I said this before. I'm glad they took it. It helps that Ickey is from NC State, because if he were the exact same player and you're from Colorado State, I'd be like, what the hell? Of course, this guy's gonna be no good. It's an offensive line. It's not even fun to dream about until we see that he's not good. But
who is the college football BG? Who is the guy out there that's like, what do you mean you didn't know the guy at Kent State?
Probably Chip, right?
It's either Chip or Felder. Felder knows everybody.
Yeah.
Yes, but I feel like, I don't know, football. See, football, they only play 11 games though, so it's not that big of a ask.
There's more players though.
That's true. True.
Yeah, I guess it is. I don't know. There's more Division I teams in basketball than football, but I don't know.
All right, let me ask you this, Brian. When you watch a game on replay, I forget, where do you watch your replay games?
Synergy. Yeah, there's a lot of places though.
Synergy's the one I was thinking of. Yeah. I assume they have commercials already cut out, right? Do they cut out free throws?
No, they do not.
So how long does a replayed game take to watch?
Depends, because I clip those games too. So some of them take hours to do.
Football.
But if I were not clipping stuff, it would take at least 30 minutes less.
Right. Yeah. Well, so football, you can rewatch a game when they have it cut to play, snap to tackle, snap to tackle, snap to tackle. It's it's a 25-minute game. I'm not going to be like, oh, these guys don't do anything. But Chip can rewatch every D1 football game, and it's still only a fraction of the basketball games that BG's trying to watch to get these NBA prospects.
Yeah. Or you could just look at a dang box score and be like, wow, Devin Leary had a big game today.
He threw a lot of passes.
Picking apart the secondary. He completed checks notes 24 of 31 passes for 312 yards and 4 touchdowns.
So not to get depressing with you guys, but Hayes already mentioned it's cloudy out, cloudy Friday, kind of sad. The NFL draft makes me realize a lot about my life. And here's what I mean by that. You mentioned watching the first round and you don't know anybody that got picked, right?
Right.
I'm the same way with the NFL draft. I'm the same way with the Oscars. I'm the same way with the Grammys. So what am I doing with my life that there's not one of these things that I'm I know everything, top and bottom about this. It's getting to me right now, man. I need to pick something and just be expert on it.
I don't think so. The stuff you're saying that you're skipping out on is lowest common denominator.
Okay, all right.
You know what I mean? I feel maybe not with the Oscars necessarily, but definitely.
I could probably watch the Emmys and be pretty knowledgeable about that. I do a lot of TV shows, but man, yeah, the draft, the award shows, I don't know any of it.
The good thing is, as we've noted, like with the Super Bowl, we are in the age now, or at least you and I especially, the young bucks over there have to wait a little bit for, like, you can turn into the Grammy, and if they're like honoring somebody lifetime, it's probably somebody that like we were like loving it. It's like, oh, it's gonna be a lifetime honor for like Dr. Dre, like it's like, all right, well, I'll at least know the big performer that they're just bringing in there, or whatever. Like the hosts that they bring up at the Grammy are like the checklist of like 90 stars, or like people that our age should be watching. So at least, even if we don't research and dig all in on some of these events, they're catering to the 40-year-old white dudes now. So
I feel like when the MTV Video Music Awards kind of died and like became, because that used to be like a big thing to watch.
Yeah, you never missed the VMAs.
And like now, whenever that died, it was like that was the end of me watching anything. Like,
that's my question. Did it die, or are like 24-year-olds just watching it on TikTok and it's still like everything they're talking about?
No, because I think all MTV is now is playing like reruns of the Rob Dyrdek show.
Dude, it's amazing when people put that graphic up there. Yeah. And it's like,
it's incredible. If you go through the guide, it's
like 6 a.m. till 7 p.m. is just repeats of that show, and then like one new show that they're putting out will air like 3 times 7 o'clock.
And then like Teen Mom Marathon, which I'm not against the Teen Mom Marathon. No. Like, let's be honest. I mean, but I even stopped watching that when they got rid of Janelle from down in Oak Island. I mean, Pac Pro.
Your favorite all-time team. I heard she actually was a Pac Pro. I know that we. I know that we extend that too much, but I heard that like she was a professional and she had more Pac ties. Who's your favorite all-time teen mom?
Janelle was good. There was also Farrah was kind of psycho, and then she like got into the adult world and such.
She became a pro as well.
And there was I think it was Macy from Tennessee. She was pretty country and redneck as well. So yeah.
Was the Hills an MTV show as well?
Yes. Yes.
MTV. Okay. You were big into that.
Yeah.
Hills was not as good as Laguna Beach though.
Correct.
Laguna Beach was only 2 seasons, and really only one good season. Like one, and then the second was okay.
I think MTV lost me with Jersey Shore. I think that was the one that, like, when that came on, I was like, I'm out.
I'll still go back and watch a challenge. Like, you give me a new season of the challenge.
Oh, Shane loves the challenges.
CT
watch the challenges like I watch college basketball.
Dude, if CT is in, I'm in, man.
That guy hasn't aged, by the way.
He's amazing.
He's incredible. Been doing nothing but the last 20 years, just doing challenges, steroids, and plastic surgery. But yeah, the man has just not aged. He's the exact same.
He is. And he's kind of mellowed out, which makes it a little less fun. But there's enough for like he'll just dip his toe into the crazy just enough.
He gets into only 3 drunken fights per season now. Actually, it's way down from the usual 15 from 15 years ago.
He'll like be super sweet to like this small, this little girl that's on the challenge and like get the most out of her to like do the challenges better. And then when he has the opportunity, like immediately drop her and pick up the girl that like has a chance of like winning. Like seems like he's like, oh man, he's really taking me under his wing. Like, no, he is absolutely trying to get people. And he always wins. How has CT not been entered in the draft? I would take that guy in the 7th round and then just figure out a place to put him in.
He's definitely got it. CT definitely has enough CTE to play in the NFL. You know what I mean? It's like it's amazing.
I mean, if all these dudes,
I want to see that just for the highlight package when he gets drafted. It's like no football.
it's just him like tackling.
Go to town on this hamster wheel. Like
the number one CT highlight is when they're playing the game where you're strapped back to back, sitting down, and you've got to just basically like will your way, drag the other guy out, and they were like going at it. And at one point, he just stood up and is carrying the other guy like an infant on his back, and he just like power walks into the side. It was like, God, that's it. And that's the ultimate CT highlight. But much like if these dudes like Jimmy Graham and these people, I guess Jimmy Graham did play a little college football, but I feel Antonio Gates, did he not play college football?
No, I don't think so. Or no, he did at Michigan State, and then he transferred out, and then went to Kent State and played. I think just
basketball, right?
Yeah, I don't know if he played. I don't think he played football there. I could be wrong though.
I'm telling you, CT, you could roll him out there. Not now. He's too old now. 8 years ago, I would have liked to see what he would have done on a
Put him at tight end and just let him go.
let him catch a couple passes. He'd be. I mean, if Tebow's getting 4 chances in the NFL, like CT deserves it.
By the way, you brought up Tebow. I did see. I randomly got on his Instagram like this week. He was.
We get it. We get it, BG. We get it.
Like, wait a minute. How do you randomly end up on Tim Tebow's?
Someone he
was
he must be
Easter,
doing something
so-
on it, some ESPN thing that I followed. But anyways, the reason why I bring it up is because he was pulling for the Tar Heels in the Final Four.
Of course.
There were
course he
photos and videos him wearing a Vince Carter jersey, pulling for the Heels.
My guy, big Tebow guy.
Yeah.
God, I don't know how the Heels lost if God was on their side, but
Yeah.
Are you sure it was a Vince Carter jersey or did it say Tebow on the back? Because he was 15 also.
It's a good point. Honestly, it's a good point.
Next, the Canes. We mentioned them. They in the regular season with the least amount of points, luckiest team. Again, they give you a trophy for that.
So it's the team did not have. I haven't looked at the goals against, but it's goalie tandem, right? Like 2 goalies playing together, and you have to play a certain amount of games. So it's just Freddie and Ronta. It's not the Canes, right?
Yeah,
So,
I thought they got it because
yeah, it's the least amount of goals given up by a goalie tandem. So like it doesn't count Cucci, it doesn't count Lyon, it doesn't count like the other guys that played. It's just that goalie tandem.
so any 2 goalies, as long as they play 25 games, but then
I don't know what the amount of games is, but yeah.
you were probably right. The way I read it was like the team that had the least amount of goals given up over the season, any goalie that played 25 games for them gets the award.
No, it's a goalie tandem. So like Tampa Bay, for example, if Vasilevsky plays 85% of their games and he gives up the least amount of goals, they're not going to win that award because it's not a tandem, right? It's one goalie.
Well, I didn't even know this award existed. So
What's the name of? Do we know the
Pretty
name?
much the biggest trophy there is.
yeah, what is the name of this trophy?
Let me go back and look at the press release here.
Yeah, I was trying to find it as well, but now I can't find it.
I've never
The
heard of it.
Jennings Trophy.
The what?
The Jennings Trophy.
All right. Well, shout out.
And then and Anderson's won it before. He won it with
Yeah, it's presented annually to goaltenders having played at least 25 games for the team allowing the fewest goals.
so the team allowing the fewest goals.
Okay, and then they each played. Yeah, I thought it was just a goalie tandem. I've never seen 3. Well, I guess you'd never see 3.
Hard to, but if you had 3 that played 25 games each, then I think they would win it. But anyway, and then,
Did they get a day with the trophy to take it around like Raleigh and such?
Yeah.
Bally almost
Tonight.
jinxed it. Were you guys watching the game last night?
no.
Yeah, Bally almost jinxed it with like Canes were up 6-1 with like 6 minutes left, and they put the graphic up there showing the goal total, and the Canes were like 3 goals away, and they're like, oh, he's got a little bit of a buffer, and then like New Jersey scored, and then they scored again, and it was like if he let in 1 more, it would have been a tie, and I don't know how they do that, but
I know how they handle tie. The tiebreaker goes to not the Carolina Hurricanes.
yeah, pretty much.
The tie goes to the other team, not the Kings.
For the first tiebreaker is, are you an original 6 franchise?
Yes. Our opponent in the first round looks to be right now it's Boston, but it easily could be Tampa by the end of the week. It's just a classic. Like there's no. We've lost to both those teams in the playoffs, and they're both good. There's no like we want one versus the other. It's going to be hard either way, and we kind of want to beat either one. Like, is there any advantage in playing one over the other, Swain?
No, I mean it's like you're playing a wild card this year, right? Because you're talking about Tampa, you're talking about Boston. It is similar to playing a 15 seed in the Elite 8 in the NCAA tournament this year. Like you did not want to see. I don't even remember the name of the school.
Peters.
Thank you, St. Peter's. Yeah, you do not want to see them in the Elite 8, just like you don't want to see Boston or Tampa in the first round.
Who is dinging?
That's me. Sorry,
I didn't know if Goodson was just crushing mortgages.
No.
Over and over. Weatherman says that the goalie tandem should have to carry the trophy around while stuck together. So, sorry, you want it together, so you got to stick together. Personally, do you?
I want Tampa.
Why is that?
They've beat us the last 2 years, right? Have they knocked us out the last 2 years?
No, they knocked us out last year. Boston knocked us out the previous 2 years.
Yeah, I want to play the team first, like the first round. Like the playoffs are so freaking long to begin with, and like I want to come out of the gate like let's go, let's play the best team, let's have good games. If we're good enough to win, like even better. If we're not good enough to win, then it's like okay, we haven't wasted like 3 months of our lives at like tailgating and going to
3 months,
going to games and all of that stuff.
Also, if it's Tampa and Boston are like options for the first round, these are like good teams. Like, who are we going to meet in the Eastern Conference Finals? The Atlanta Thrashers. Like, I feel like if we make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, it's going to be like some absolute scrub team. Like, oh yeah, so you did all the dirty work in the first round.
Is Florida in the Eastern Conference?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Florida's the number 1 seed.
I thought.
There's also Pittsburgh, Rangers,
Capitals,
Toronto.
and Caps.
The Caps aren't winning anything, dude.
But VG will be quick to realize that Alex Ovechkin will be wide ass open on the power play on the weak side and probably score 1 out of every 2 times he touches the puck.
Someone should cover that guy, the very large Russian skating.
The guy who's literally got like more goals than all but like 2 players in the history of the NHL.
It is incredible. Like
it would be like if Steph Curry's just like wide open on like the weak side, like
guys guard him. Some of it is like power play stuff, obviously, but I don't know. It is one of those things where you're like, when guys are that good at scoring goals, they just like some of them must have like a knack for getting open. And it was just like this guy, it felt like every other time he touched the puck, it was like, like a leverage opportunity and he could go score.
I realize this probably isn't legal, but to your point, BG, it does seem like, all right, power play, so it's 5 skaters versus 4, right? Well, I'd rather have 1 skater just go hold Alex Ovechkin against the boards and then play the other 4 on 3. Like we're going to be out of man either way. I'd rather take 4 on 3 without Ovechkin than 5 on 4 where Ovechkin's one of the dudes. So just have somebody go over there. I never understand that when it seems like there's times where you skate over and it's okay to just sort of hold somebody against the boards for a little bit. Like, is that my crazy swing?
No, that's never legal.
Never legal? All right, well, I'm going to point it out. It feels like sometimes it's just like, all right, I'm not going anywhere, but you can't go anywhere for a little bit anyway. If
the puck is like underneath them, then it's.
I got you. And you can like hold the dude while your dude is trying to get in.
Yeah.
Fish it out. At some point, I should commit to actually learning the hockey rules.
Nah.
I feel like this happened. Like Brinson was like this a couple years ago. Like it's just more fun to be like, what the hell? How does that guy do that? And then my kid would be like, that really wasn't that illegal. And Brinson's like, I don't care. I'm a fan, and I saw my guy go down. Let's blame him cheating. Like that's ignorance is bliss in this instance.
No, I'm the exact same way. Maybe with hockey more than like any other sport too. Honestly, where like the lack of like fundamental understanding actually like makes for greater enjoyment of like consuming the product. I just get to like fan out on it instead,
Is there do we have a Scott Foster in the NHL? The stat kept popping up this year that in the NBA playoffs, games in which Chris Paul or James Harden played and Scott Foster reffed, they went 1-27, and the one was when they were playing against each other, so somebody had to win. I mean, that is just a glaring, amazing, telling stat, right? Is there anything like that in the NHL where like when obviously I know there's refs that are known for being bad, but they're any like, when the Canes have had this guy, they literally like.
I got you one in college basketball if you want one. I got you about 5 guys. State has that stat for like 6 different referees over the history of time.
Even State's also terrible. Like you can't be like when State had any referees in the game this year, they went 2-17 in the ACC. That doesn't mean that we've thrown out all the refs. Like that might be a you problem.
That gets skewed a little bit, right? Because if you're talking about guys that haven't in BG, I'm not making a joke here because it happens in every sport. When you see stats like that, it's usually referees that referee big games, right? And so somebody's playing a good team because it's a big game,
Sure.
and if they don't win a lot, then they're probably going to have a losing record in those games.
Sure. But it'd be one thing if they were 10-17, though, right? 1-20 or 10, whatever the math would be. 1-27 just starts to be like,
Yeah, I think the only time it's accurate is when Roger Ayers does Duke games in the NCAA tournament. It's the only time it's accurate.
Very good. Speaking of, who's advanced in the NBA playoffs? Who's done with another series wrecked last night, right?
Sixers.
I know not Brooklyn. Now I can't tell you who beat them, but I know not Brooklyn.
So Boston beat them, and so they advanced to play Milwaukee, who cruised by Chicago despite having no Chris Middleton, who's basically modern day Michael Redd, right-handed Michael Redd. If that is
now you're speaking good sense. Like,
in fact, he actually wears 22 and plays for the Bucks, which is a reminder. Why have the Bucks not retired Michael Redd's number? This is a travesty.
Goodson, how come you're not
He's still playing? Why would they retire his number while he's still playing?
He played 3 minutes in a blowout loss in Game 4, I think.
But so yeah, Milwaukee versus Boston, that starts Sunday. That'll be a really fun. That's going to be a pretty awesome series. Phoenix beat New Orleans last night behind Chris Paul, 33 points on 14 of 14 shooting, 8 assists, 1 turnover. Not too bad. That. By the way, the 14 shots without a miss is an NBA playoff record. In case you guys were curious, but they will play.
The 17 seasons without a ring is not an NBA record.
Fair enough. But they advanced to play Dallas, who knocked out Utah last night. And we'll see. That could be the end of this Utah, this post Gordon Hayward Utah, squad they've had for a couple of years now with Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert and Quinn Snyder. Mike Conley. It'll be interesting to see if that crew gets broken up now. If there are some trades. There are rumors that Quinn Snyder won't be back in Utah, that he might take the Lakers job, or I don't know. Does Duke have any open spots for assistants still?
Yeah, they need one more assistant.
There you go.
The Lakers or the end of the bench at Duke.
Couldn't do better than Quinn Snyder. He is an excellent coach. So if Utah does lose him, that's actually a pretty serious loss for them. I really like his offense. But so those are the ones that have pushed through so far. I think there might be one more, but Phoenix and Dallas, they start up on – Miami knocked out Atlanta as well. So Miami cruised by the Hawks, and they advanced to play – so they're the 1 seed. So they'll play, I guess, Philadelphia. I think they'll play Philly now in the second round. So, yeah. Anyways, second round series are going to be awesome. I'm very excited.
I think a team should be able to pick up LeBron right now just to make it interesting. Somebody should be able – LeBron should be able to go play for somebody.
Adam Silver would love if that was a thing that he could sign into policy right now.
Did y'all see on Bomani Jones, the final episode of this first season, he did a thing about basically how LeBron's kind of blocking the sun of the, I'm glad he's out of the playoffs. Let's watch Ja Morant and, Jason Tatum and all these other dudes that we're going to have to get used to watching because at some point LeBron won't be in the league anymore. And let's stop talking about LeBron.
There's no way he said Jason Tatum. There's no chance he said Jason.
All right. Now I'm going to go back and check.
Yeah.
Stand up for it. Bomani seems like a guy who will embrace a guy as soon as he's away from Duke. I don't think do you think he carries Duke alum hate? I don't know. He seems like a dude who in the NBA. He forgets that I don't know. I feel like he but I'll go back and check that.
But yeah, first off, it is incredible to see the amount of under 30, under 25 talent in the NBA. It's extraordinary. But did you see the thing? It was either this week or last week, but Colin Cowherd put out his top 5 NBA players under the age of 25, but 3 of the guys he named were above the age of 25. Dude, you weren't even close to Joel Embiid is 28 years old, man. He could not be on your under 25 list, dude.
Embiid also is one of those dudes that you wouldn't mistake for being under 25, right? A, it feels like he's been around a while, and B, he looks like he's 45.
Yes. He's been in the NBA for nearly a decade, and he has looked 27 since his freshman year at Kansas too.
Here's my question regarding Rudy Gobert, and I kind of feel bad for the guy, except for not really, because he put himself in this situation by being an idiot. How good does Rudy Gobert have to be for us for in like 25 years? The first thing that you think about when you hear Rudy Gobert isn't, oh, he's the guy that started the coronavirus.
What I'm wondering now is, it's like, I mean, the only other thought would be like, I mean, that will be it. It's because that it's so bizarre that like that was the thing that changed it for everybody. So it's like there's just no way he can fully escape that.
Yeah.
The second line of his bio will be like, one of the, arguably the best defensive big man of his generation post Dwight Howard. The third line though will be like, but he couldn't post up on anybody. like the Hornets would switch Isaiah Thomas onto him this year. Like he can't, like, the Jazz falter for a lot of reasons in the playoffs. And like one of those things is like you can switch against them, and Gobert, other than like hitting the offensive glass, doesn't have like a reliable way. Like the Hornets can put LaMelo Ball on him. You know what I mean? And like Gobert can stand in the post and put his hand up and call for it, but it's like it does nothing. Like Donovan Mitchell's not looking at him. He doesn't actually want the ball. Even if he got the ball, it would be a turnover. But yeah, no, I mean, unfortunately for him, I don't think Gobert will ever fully escape the patient zero status, in the NBA. And also because like the video of him like a day before, 2 days before, of him like touching all the microphones, it's just like that's not going anywhere. You know what I mean? Like unless Musk wipes that away from Twitter, like that video is not going anywhere. And so it's probably fair or foul, probably foul. Like he'll never like quite outrun that. You know?
Well, no, it's the we like sports, but the majority of the world likes sports that like go over into mainstream news, right? Like that's all they know, and so
for
the only thing that they'll ever know about Rudy Gobert is the COVID stuff.
I need 20 years from now him and Fauci to go like on a book tour together. Like
Strange
get Fauci, Rudy Gobert, and
Tom Hanks.
Tom
Hanks and Rudy Gobert were the first two.
It'll be Clay Travis, and he'll still be denying the existence or the fearful. We'll be on like the 20,000th variant of COVID, but Clay Travis will still be like, yeah, it's not a big deal.
Clay Travis will sign your book and be like, there's more of a chance of me dying from ink poison signing this than one of you dying of COVID back in the day. All right, final topic I wanted to hit on here. This one goes straight to Goodson.
I mean,
go ahead.
Yeah, I'm excited about this one.
Goodson.
This one's incrable.
I thought we were going to talk about GG Jackson first. Was there anything to talk about with that? I mean,
I thought we talked about Giannis, so I figured they're basically the same person. So I thought we'd already covered GG Jackson. He's basically young Giannis. I saw YouTube. I do. I'm a sucker for look, when everybody knows all these dudes. I had no idea who GG Jackson was, but if I hear UNC sign some dude that's supposed to be good, I'm like, if he's good, he better have a mixtape. Let me see his 12 best votes. So
they all have mixtapes now. Every prospect does.
YouTube on my phone is on the Sports Chair Lane account, and I went in and I was gonna look for GG Jackson highlights. I was like, nah, these guys, one of these dorks will bring up the search history Permar, watch GG Jackson highlights on it. So I switched to the Hayes Permar account, so you could not see my search history of GG
Permar going into incognito mode so you can watch
GG Jackson highlights. Is he good, BG, or is it
is he good?
UNC makes a big deal when they get a top 5 signing?
No, I haven't I don't do a ton of prep stuff, but everyone who I trust with this stuff says he's very, very good. So there's that.
I did love, somebody had a good tweet that was Inside Carolina was we'll be carrying GG Jackson's announcement. Here's the live stream link. And when they're giving out the link, they know. They would not be there on site with 3 reporters and blasting it if they thought he was going to Miami or whatever.
If Ross Martin, Sherelle McMillan, and Inside Carolina are there, it's he's probably going to UNC.
So it'll be fun, man.
British Tar Heel woke up to watch it too. So I mean, that's the sign.
I don't know. I feel like Ross Martin spends a lot of time at high schools.
It's wrong, man. But 3 years of G.G. Jackson is going to be incredible, though.
Seriously.
What will he average next year? Like 8 minutes?
That's the thing.
He's not even coming next year. It's the year after that.
The year after, yeah.
He'd have to. It was funny to see.
Baycott will still be there.
Yeah.
As will Caleb Love and R.J. Davis. And
Love and Baycott will not be there. R.J. Davis.
I don't know. He might reclassify. It depends on if they can get Kerwin Walton signed on somewhere else.
Yeah. There is that. I mean, that is the funny thing. Is like there were some UNC fans after the commitment that were like, "Oh, he's definitely reclassifying," and it was like, well. Something else has to happen first. Like, I'm not saying it's impossible, but my guess with Kerwin Walton is that he's just going through the draft process to like get feedback and to like remind people that like he's good at basketball.
Well, he's just trying to play, right? Like he didn't get to play at all this year. He wants to play on a basketball court. And so,
I mean, I really do think there is something to be said about him wanting to be like NBA people. Remember me? I shot 42% on threes as a freshman. Like I know this was a bad year, but like I am not bad. So I don't know. I think it's also like there's no risk in doing this too. It's like all of these guys should do it.
Everybody should do it.
You know, it's like a great way to get like you travel a little bit, you get some workout gear, you know, and get people that are like, hey, you got to work on your defense or whatever.
That's why it's funny when guys don't do it, right? Like I don't know. But yeah, get to this story because this story is awesome.
Yeah, this is amazing. We need
all right, so you knew it was coming, I guess. If you like followed the evolution, first it was like NIL players will be able to like link up with the car dealership and like whatever. Then it quickly became like schools establishing departments to go ahead and like line these things up. Like let's make this process seamless so that we can we don't even care what you're endorsing. We're just trying to get money in the players' of hands. Wait, let me try that again. Money in the hands of players. So it was only a matter of time before basically Isaiah Wong is demanding more money. NIL agent says Miami Hoop star Isaiah Wong will enter transfer portal if compensation isn't increased. Goodson, does this worry you at all that the market's going up for NIL players?
No, Miami's just got a crazy guy down there. Like, I mean, like Miami is pretty unique in a unique situation because that John Ruiz guy is like literally just
he's a billionaire.
Yeah. So
he's the guy that got them. Who's the football coach for them? Cristobal. Yeah, like he's the one who's pumped all. He's been like leading the charge to pump all of the money into like. I mean, he's done it to get football players, football coaches, basketball players, volleyball players. Yeah, like it's kind of incredible, like how he started to funnel money through like University of Miami athletics.
So here's the nerd side of it, which is this is why this story interests me. Is there's two different things. There's NIL, which is a player's right to earn money off of their fame, right? Like they can make T-shirts, they could do a commercial for a car dealership, whatever. The other side of it is pay to play, right? And so like the NIL rules specifically state two things. It can't be contingent upon a player enrolling in a specific school, or it can't be tied to like performance incentives, right? Like you scored 20 points, so now we're going to give you this. It can't be tied to those two things. And by saying the quiet part out loud in this story, which is the agent going on record saying Isaiah Wong's going to the transfer portal unless you give him more money to stay at Miami. That is 100% pay to play, right? That's going to raise a lot of questions and eyebrows and red flags that haven't been here around these collectives. And stuff's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen to the schools. Schools are in the clear. Nothing's going to happen to the players. Players in the clear. What's going to happen is the agents that are working with these players are going to lose their NCAA certification. And if agents are concerned about steering players towards these collectives that are pumping money into these deals to get players to go to those schools, they're going to stop doing it because the only way players are allowed to work with agents is if they're certified by the NCAA. So if the players keep working with the agents, they're going to lose eligibility. The agents keep steering them towards these collectives, the agents are going to lose their certification and they're going to lose clients. So you think back to Breaking Bad, right? Like there's a great scene in Breaking Bad when Mike Ehrmantraut is yelling at Walter White and it says, "This is perfect and you've ruined it," right? Like this is what this agent did. This is a perfect setup for everyone involved. And this agent going on record saying my client's going to transfer unless you give him more money is going to ruin it for everybody. So anyone that was cheering for the pay to play side of it to kind of like get some attention, now it's got attention. And I think we're going to see some stuff happen on this collective side that is going to take away the power that they've had over the past like 3 months.
Yeah, it's weird that like the lines for like what is or isn't pay to play is so murky too. You know what I mean? I mean, like to get the way that like Miami got some of the transfers this week that are now theoretically driving up the amount of money that Isaiah Wong wants to make. Well, like if he comes back, like Isaiah Wong also like 4 days ago entered the NBA draft, right? I kind of thought he was just going to stick in the draft, but now it seems like he entered the draft. They added a couple of transfers, and it seems like he's like, well, maybe I'll I've got a little bit of leverage here or whatever. But it is just wild. This like, how is John Ruiz offering $800,000 to Nigel Pack to transfer from Kansas State to come play at Miami? Like, how is that not pay for? Like, I mean, I'm sure it's like semantics to get around the rules or whatever, but it's like, how is that not pay to play too?
Well, that's happening behind closed doors, right? Like we can look at it and say, "Oh, come on, he picked Miami because of it," but he could have had those deals set up at other schools. He just picked Miami and then had that deal. But this is literally saying, "I am leaving your school unless you up my pay," which is black and white pay to play, right? And there's no way around that at all. And what's even funnier is Wong and Pack, same agent.
Yeah.
Same agent.
Yeah. Well, it's just like Wong is on like the 1.0 model of NIL. You know what I mean? And this is like the transfer portal guys this summer. It's like the second year of it.
Right.
I mean, the second phase of it. And yeah, that is important to know. Like the agent. Or maybe it was the booster would not specify how much Wong made this season, like under NIL money playing at Miami, but obviously it's less than 400,000. Like very very clearly.
Yeah.
So yeah,
like the murky part is I'm going to go play for this program because they're going to raise my profile and increase my value in the NIL market, right? Mm-hmm. The pay to play side is I'm going to this school because they're giving me $500,000 in a car. And that was all behind the scenes until this happened yesterday. And now it's out there and it's going to be fascinating to see where it goes.
It was just a matter of time before this happened then. Like, I mean, it's almost incredible that that like there was this like 9-month period essentially where it was working. And like, it ultimately gets back to the point, like NIL like is like kind of just like the bare minimum. You know what I mean? I mean, it works in a lot of ways, or for a lot of people it works, but college athletes still don't like make any of like the money they generate. They still don't make any of that back. You know what I mean? Like NIL is like its own separate thing.
Right.
So like, again, the system is like far, 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 far from perfect. But what is like my like minor personal connection to this story is that when Wong declared for the draft on like Monday this week, I wrote a story at accsports.com being like, Wong declares, here's how good he's been the last couple of years. Here's some stats. If he comes back, he'll be really good playing with these guys. That story got retweeted by Isaiah Wong's mom, who also followed me on Twitter. And then like, when this story dropped like 2 days after that, I was laughing. I was hoping maybe they saw like like I'm sure this stuff had been in the works for a while, at least since like Pack committed to Miami, which was on I think last Saturday. But I don't know. I was hoping they saw this story and they were like, you know what? Isaiah, he does deserve more money. Like, look how good he's been. I don't think that's what actually happened, but considering how like little time there was between these two things, it was like fun for me to draw some lines between the two of them.
I'm sure like the agent is driving / handling a lot of this, but I do like thinking about like who does Isaiah Wong call to let them know that he needs more money? Like, does he tell his coach? Does he tell the hey guys, I'm gonna need some more money? Like who do you, or do you just float it out in the media and let them read it on ESPN? Like he's got like.
Yeah, my guess would be his agent would be.
Yeah, that's what I mean. His
agent. He goes to the agent. Agent goes to the Ruiz guy or whatever his name is. And so if the answer is no, the agent's next move is to go to the media, which is what he did.
Yeah, that seems
and I just a total sucker move. Totally played himself by doing it. I think the only one that's going to end up getting screwed in this case is going to be the agent when he loses his NCAA certification. And like I said, that's going to be a trickle down for other agents that are working with these collectives across the country that, they see what happens and now the lid is off and eyes are on it where it wasn't on it a week ago.
And this is probably like completely unfair to someone like Isaiah
Listen,
Wong.
why are you sweating right now? Did you start sweating when we talked about this? It's kind of weird.
The thing that I would also one of the reasons why this ultimately Isaiah Wong is very good at basketball. He's going to play for a long, long time and make a bunch of money playing in the NBA or abroad, whatever.
Or at Miami.
Miami too, potentially, or another school potentially as well, I suppose. But it's if and when he stays in the draft, I mean, it's maybe not fair, but I'm sure some teams will use this as a knock against him. You know what I mean? I don't think that my hope would be that's not the case, that teams make personnel draft decisions or who to sign as undrafted free agents or whatever based off of talent and getting to know the player and that type of stuff. But I don't know. I mean, do you think it's not apples to apples, but I'm guessing there were some NBA teams that were not thrilled about what Jalen Johnson did at Duke last season. And to be clear, I have no knocks on Jalen. What Jalen made a personal decision for him. I think it ultimately was the best decision for everybody, and he can do whatever he wants. And he's a great talent. He's gonna make a ton of money playing in the NBA. But Jalen Johnson also fell to 20 in the draft, where the Hawks took him. And it's
it might have hurt him. I think the difference in these two is that when Johnson opted out of the rest of his season, it kind of helps the NBA, right? Because they've got a prospect that's not going to be out there on the court potentially getting injured, right? And
there's that.
It might help. I don't think any NBA teams are watching that going, man, I'm concerned that this guy is just going to quit mid-season.
Yeah.
On the other hand, with Isaiah Wong, contracts get negotiated all the time, right? And if you've got a guy that's willing to hold out on his college basketball team over a fraction of what he'll be getting paid at your NBA franchise, that might cause a little bit more concern than a dude sitting out.
Agreed. I just still think there's enough personnel. While some of this stuff has evolved, I still think there are enough people making personnel decisions around the NBA that believe in the old model, right? Guys go to college, they play there for a couple of years, then we draft them. You know what I mean? And if this is sort of bucking against that a little bit, I don't know. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong about that. I'm probably I don't know. Maybe this is just a straw man thing, but I don't know, man. I hope Isaiah Wong is back. If he doesn't want to go pro, I hope he stays at Miami. He's been a really fun and good player. I'd like to see him play for them. And if not, then he'll go make a bunch of money and play for another really good team because he's quite a player. So
I think it goes back to what we don't have moves, right? So we got to talk on this. It goes back to what we talked about last time with guest players in youth sports. We need a stable of guest players, and if you want that kid to come play for your team at whatever baseball tournament you have, you got to pony up the cash.
That's right. We need just a pool of ACC guest players, and then when the tournaments. We've always talked about this, good players on bad teams, but we need to get them on, let them transfer to a good team just for the tournament. Guest player, that's a perfect option.
We should have Isaiah Wong as a roving player in the ACC next year. Like play for anybody, like whomever is playing against Miami, like Isaiah Wong gets to play for that
Well,
team.
you remember like when the MLS started and like the women that you have players that are on the payroll of the league and then they're allocated out to different teams. Maybe that's what the ACC should do. Is just we're gonna pull together our resources. We're gonna pay 30 guys and then we're gonna just allocate them to teams so that our teams are successful.
Yeah.
It's not a bad idea.
I know it's kind of good actually.
Jim Phillips watches this religiously, so he might be.
The only thing is, it's like, where will they house those 30 players? Is it going to be in Greensboro, Orlando, or Charlotte?
Right.
You're on the squad. You're on that whatever we call that, the travel squad for 2 years, and then your next 2 years, your junior and senior year, you go play.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, definitely.
You close out your career there. Speaking of closing things out, Weather Moose isn't here, so we're just gonna have to give you the weather like we started. It's gray, kind of cold. I guess you can play golf because it's not raining yet.
I think it's supposed to get nicer in Raleigh today.
I'm sure it's gonna rain at some point. All right. Enjoy the rest of the draft. Round 2 today, guys. I know you got 2 and 3, I think. Panthers don't have a pick on either one, I don't believe. Brian Geisker.
NFL draft overrated. Chris Paul rightly rated as the point guard. I don't know. Do we have anything underrated?
Devin Leary.
Devin Leary underrated. Boom. There you go.
Underrated. Have a good weekend. For Ben Swain, Josh Goodson, Brian Geisker, and the Weather Moose. Sports Channel 8. We out.
Sports, when you've got a great ball club. Sports, when you're leaving it all on the field. Sports, when you like your team's chances. Sports, to survive and advance in. Sports, for the teams you love and the teams